Hi and welcome back. Let's do new skincare launches. And suddenly, because we've had a slight easing of the lockdown in the UK over the last 2 weeks, there has suddenly been a huge rash of new launches. And it's exciting because I got to the point where I thought, what am I going to talk to you guys about? There's nothing new. Well, there are new brands, there are new vitamin C's, there are new skincare makeup hybrids. In fact, I think this is going to make a two-part video. So I'll put the first bit up on Thursday and the second bit up on Sunday. And it's also made me reappraise my skincare. So next week I'll do a video on what's helping my skin through lockdown. But let's start with new launches because so many of you are asking about everything that's on the market and what's new and what's exciting. And finally, I've got something to talk to you about. I'm so excited. Let's start with a new product from Vichy, which I'm always excited about. I wrote about this, in fact, I'm thinking about when my feature is going to come out. My feature comes out on Saturday in the Times, listing my favourite budget anti-agers. And I put this in there straight away. And I tell you why. One, it's a brand I really know. Two, I've been testing it. And three, it's a combination of two of the hottest ingredients in beauty right now. And this is the Vichy Aqualia Volcano Drop. Well, I don't know. Is the answer to that. I don't know the volcano reference, but it essentially is a combination of squalane and sodium hyaluronic acid, which means it's got two of the hottest ingredients in beauty right now. And the end result is just a blooming great moisturiser. It really is. I love the packaging. It's really lovely. You open up like that and then you squeeze it out. And what comes out is that perfect gel cream texture, which I know I love, which I suspect you love, which is why you follow me. It's just heavenly. You get that hit of the humectant of hyaluronic acid, which feels cool and really light, but then the squalane basically hits home. And squalane is the skin similar extract of olive oil. Now, normally you would associate squalane and squalene, both of them, with a drier skin because dry skins absolutely love it. I know Sally absolutely loves it as an ingredient. She's got really dry skin. I always talk to her when it comes to thinking about dry skin conditions. But they've managed to buffer it out with loads of humectants, and what you end up with is just a really lovely halfway house, light, easily absorbed, but seriously works. Do you know, I've been testing a lot of these products and it's very interesting to see what gives an initial feel of moisture and sort of a silky finish, but actually you look down and 10 minutes later, I mean, everybody's hands look like that, but your hands still look old and wrinkled. I really like it. As usual with Vichy, it's lightly fragranced, but you know, I'm a fan of Vichy and I do think that's a really nice product, just hit counter, reasonably priced. Other products that everybody's asking me to talk about. So this is the new Kiehl's serum. It's their Vital Skin Strengthening Super Serum and it's loaded with hyaluronic acid, and they're the first brand to talk really honestly and openly on the packaging about molecular weights. They're known as Daltons. They're measured in Daltons after the physician Dalton. And they have 11K Dalton hyaluronic acid, which means nothing to most people. But basically the people at Kiehl's have done the research and have worked out it's the optimum molecular weight hyaluronic acid to sit just beneath the surface layer of the skin, the very dead surface layers of the skin, to lock water in without drying and tightening. They've also put adaptogenic herbs in it, and I'm a bit about adaptogenic herbs. I mean, I have tried to take them. I've tried to take something called Adraset, which was recommended to me when I'm feeling a bit lacking in energy during the winter. And for me, it kind of never really worked for me. I would say it never worked. And then, what was it? It was ginseng and something else. I've gone off on a curve. Anyway, it was recommended to me by the brilliant Ian Marber, who started The Food Doctor. And I'm saying, this doesn't work. I don't feel any different at all. I get to 7 o'clock and I am bouncing off the walls. So adaptogenic herbs do work if you take them internally. I'm just not sure if they work in skincare, but it's a lovely hyaluronic acid. Really nice. Slightly milky serum, not drying or tightening. Cute Kiehl's packaging. I really like it. And it's a sort of, I mean, it's that I always love that in a hyaluronic acid. It's got that sort of beauty pie triple hyaluronic acid feeling to it. When it's slightly milky like that, it means it has other added ingredient, other added humectants, and this is just really nicely balanced, feels great. I mean, the skin strengthening thing, it smells herbal, and I actually quite like that smell. It's got a slightly sort of advanced night repair smell about it, which I really like. The skin strengthening thing is the simple act of putting humectants, locking them into that top stratum corneum will strengthen your skin barrier. So it is quite expensive, I think, for Kiehl's, but I do think it's if you are already invested in Kiehl's, it's a really nice hyaluronic acid. Next up are 2 new products from Charlotte Tilbury that loads of people have been asking me about. First up is the Magic Cream Light from Charlotte Tilbury. Now, I have followers that are obsessed with Magic Cream. Personally, I just think it's a really nice moisturiser. It has no magic properties about it at all. And I do think it's expensive for what it is, but a lot of people love it. And I feel that because Charlotte is so good at makeup, she's basically formulated it to give you the perfect base for makeup. Well, obviously the light is a lighter version, so it's for slightly oilier skins. So think of it almost like, I wouldn't think of it as having a high level of actives. I would think of it as just being almost like a sophisticated primer. Now, the one that everybody's asking about is this one, and this is the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Serum Crystal Elixir. And I'm going to say 2 things about it. I think it has around 10% niacinamide in it, and it's the niacinamide that is going to give you the results you want from this. Crystals, have you met me, right? Crystals have absolutely 0 healing properties, energy, vibration. I'm sorry, that's a load of old bunkum. I just don't believe in that at all. Sorry to rain on your parade if you do. I just don't think crystals have any magic healing powers at all, otherwise they'd be available on prescription for the NHS. But what putting crystals into a product like this will give you a bounce back. So again, think of this like a primer. The crystals have no energy healing, but they do have the ability to reflect and bounce back light, obviously, if you think about the way a crystal diffuses and diffracts light. So this will give you, again, almost like a softer version of the Hollywood glow, so that Hollywood filter. So it will give you a sort of slightly glowy look, which a lot of people are going to like. So if you go into it thinking, I'm paying a lot for 10% of niacinamide, it has a form of vitamin C in it, but it's really low down the list, and the peptides are seriously low down the list in this. But think of it, again, think of it as a primer, think of it as a soft focus, really nice, get your actives elsewhere, and then put this on at the last moment to give you that soft focus, light reflective glow in it. That's all I'm going to say about that. You know what I think about buying skincare from makeup brands and makeup artists? I think, you know, it's not difficult to formulate a really good serum that can give you the results you want, but don't go making magical crystal elixir claims. Just don't. Or do, but not on my time. Now, talking of products that work, No7, and I work with No7, and I'm going to be completely clear about this, not here, not on YouTube, but on Instagram, but I'm not being paid to post this. No7 have launched their first ever retinol, and this is a really interesting one because this is 0.3% retinol, and it is retinol. Previously, No7 had retinaldehyde, which is obviously, as you know, because you're smart, a retinol precursor, and they've finally made the jump to retinol. They worked on compliance studies and efficacy studies with the University of Manchester, and University of Manchester proved that it worked. We know retinol works. They did punch biopsies. They proved that it, you know, hello Yogi Bear, do you want to come up here? Everybody wants to see you. Come on. They proved obviously that retinol at 0.3% works. They tried to find the sweet spot at No7, and it was very clever of them. They realised that, you know, millions of women know and trust No7. They want to get them using retinol, but they don't want them to be frightened of it. And they did a compliance study as well, and I thought this was really interesting. Look who's here. He's my baby boy. Oh, I love him so much. I can't imagine being in lockdown without animals. They're so good for you, aren't you? All right. You just sit there looking gorgeous. Anyway, so No7 did a compliance study. So they tested 1% and they tested 0.3%. And at 0.3%, 96% of people will comply and use it and build up over the course of 4 weeks to every night. And as we know, it's long-term use of retinol that works best for your skin. So it makes complete sense for a big brand like that to err on the side of caution, go for that sweet spot. They did study 1%, and you know, compliance went down to I think around 46%, 50%. It was less than 50% anyway. So what I suggest is if, and I've said this to so many followers, if you've never used a retinol before, if you love No7 and you use No7, if you're thinking of trying a retinol for the first time, this is a great one. This is absolutely loaded with bisabolol as well, which is a soothing, calming ingredient that's been used for ages. And the controversy around the 1.5% complex, because it is slightly misleading to call it 1.5% complex, but that's because the retinol has been buffered with this bisabolol, which is soothing and calming, but also with this sort of oil in water matrix that slowly delivers it in your skin overnight. So they've worked really hard to get a formula that will be accepted and liked and complied with, using it most nights for most people. And for that, they deserve 3 cheers as far as I'm concerned. As I said, I've worked with them on Instagram and I help drive people for awareness on the product, but I'm not being paid to do this. I just think, you know, it had loads of coverage in the UK, so I just think it's important that you know about it, and it will obviously be coming to the States as well. Other things that I think are really interesting, well, let's jump completely to something, a retinol that's at 2%, and I find this really interesting. But it is from a doctor called Dr. Mariam Zamani. She's an ocular plastic surgeon. I went to see her about getting my eyes done, and she said I didn't need them doing. That was about 3 years ago. I think I need to see her again after all this is finished. You know how much I hate my undulating, wrinkled old under eyes. Anyway, this is the retinol skin booster, and it's at 2%, and I think this is really interesting because generally you can't get retinol at more than 1%. This is a dry oil formulation, and it doesn't have that many ingredients. It's very heavily fragranced, which I don't like, but it is a super light dry oil, volatile oil formulation, and the retinol is a long way up the INCI list, so it wouldn't surprise me if it wasn't at 2%. So it's a 2% encapsulated vitamin A. Interestingly, she says vitamin A, but it is retinol resurfacing treatment. And she's done reverse out packaging, so excuse me for a second while I just focus in on this. It's really tiny. So the ingredients are an ethylated macadamia, which is a form of oil, and then caprylic, triglycerin, phospholipids, and then retinol. So retinol is right the way up there, so it wouldn't surprise me if it wasn't at 2%. And then she's got tocopherol, and then shed loads of fragrance, which I don't get. I don't know why you would do that, Mariam. I presume she just knows that her audience and the patients love fragrant skincare. But you know, it's got malic acid in as well, which is a really beautiful resurfacing acid. So it's a powerful product here, really powerful. But I just don't get why you would put limonene and limonol, known skin sensitizers, in a 2% retinol. But if you like fragrant skincare and you want your retinol strong, go for it. I've got 2 other things before I finish today, and then I'm gonna, no, let's move that one over there. I've got 3 other things before we finish today, and then I'm going to move on to some new brands and to some vitamin C's and to some makeup skincare hybrids that have come in. Let's start with the Alpha H range of boosters, which I think look really chic, and that I found out about, they got sent to me obviously, but I found out about on Emma Guns's, because she's worked with them professionally. She's known them a long time, the founders of Alpha H, on her timeline, and I think they're really interesting. For a start, I love the colourways, obviously. Now there are 4 in the range, and I think the choice of the 4 is really interesting. So there's a vitamin A and retinol in an evening primrose oil. There's a vitamin E, there's a vitamin B, which is the niacinamide, and then there's a vitamin C. And I think it's really interesting that they chose vitamin E. I don't get vitamin E really as a standalone ingredient. I don't know why they didn't do vitamin D. Maybe vitamin D is coming next. Trust me, vitamin D, I mentioned this in a recent video because of the Saint-Tropez thing. Vitamin D is going to be a hot new ingredient. So much as research is coming out on the role of vitamin D in skin health and barrier function. So I think it's one that's going to be kind of coming through in the near future, especially seeing as more and more of us are staying out the sun, so we're getting lower and lower concentrations of vitamin D in our skin. Anyway, let's go through them one by one, and I will be really honest with you, this is first impressions. I haven't tested them. The vitamin A in evening primrose oil is a water glycerin polymer mix, and then it does have retinol, so it is retinol in a squalane mix, which I really like. So and then it's got jojoba seed oil, macadamia oil, all those sort of things. So It's a really nicely formulated product. So if the retinol is sitting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 after squalane, I would imagine it's sitting at about 0.5. Vitamin E, yeah, whatever. Hydrating, nice. To me, it's, you know, it's been around a long time. It's not interesting as an active. The vitamin B also has a copper tripeptide in it. I've yet to be convinced about copper peptides. I've never noticed any difference on my skin. But I think peptides work. I think so many of the hexapeptide, pentapeptides, you know, the matrixyl, they work. They do work. Copper peptide, I've yet to be convinced about. I'm sorry, I keep taking these off because one, A, they're filthy. And B, they flare under the lights, but I can't see a bloody thing without them. I'm so sorry. So this is water glycerin niacinamide. Hello, number 3 on the Inky list. It has more niacinamide in it than this, so it's probably sitting at like 20% niacinamide. That's what you want from your niacinamide. That's your bang for your buck. Panthenol, which is B5, which is skin soothing, skin calming, and niacinamide is the dream combination. I would have put vitamin B5 and B3 on it because I just think the alpha H consumer is fairly sophisticated. So that's a lovely product. I really like that. I really like the retinol and I really like that. The vitamin C is an interesting one as well. It's a water-based one, so it has a form of vitamin C that's quite stable in water called ethyl ascorbic acid, and it is the 3rd ingredient, so it's a good percentage. Grapeseed extract to balance it out, sodium hyaluronate, the salt form of hyaluronic acid. It's got some citric acids in, stuff like that. It's a fairly short, concise and powerful Inky list. I like it. So it's vitamin C in a grapeseed extract, so it's got that lightweight oil feeling to it. But again, I just don't understand why you wouldn't put your percentage on, because you're a serious skincare brand, and if you want to be taken seriously, then you know that people like you and me are going to ask. Paula's Choice recently celebrated their 20th anniversary. She did a Zoom party because she couldn't come over here from her house in Hawaii. We were all laughing. God, there's some serious money in salicylic acid. I love Paula. She can do no wrong for me. Anyway, sadly, I was filming and I missed her Zoom party, so let's do a shout out to her new product. And it's a 0.3% retinol with 2% bakuchiol. And you know my thoughts on bakuchiol. I don't think it, I think lovely Michelle at Lab Muffing did a search recently, and I think there were like 2,000 papers on retinol in skincare and 3 on bakuchiol. I think it's one to watch. I think it's a great antioxidant. I think it's a really beautiful antioxidant. I think it works really well preventatively on the skin. Yet to be, I think, to be proved to work in any way like retinol. Doesn't work on the retinol receptors in the same way that retinol does with punch biopsies and all the research for that. However, this has 0.3% retinol, and you know 0.3% retinol is your gold standard first step. So that's a really lovely product, really nice, good combination. You've got the antioxidant and the retinol. It's also got peptides and vitamin C in it, because you know what, Paula knows how to formulate a product. What I would have asked her, interestingly enough, is why she hasn't done an entirely bakuchiol product, because between you and I, and we've talked about this so many times, Paula can't use retinol, which I find amazing. She just simply is one of those rare people that cannot tolerate any retinol on her skin. She has terrible reactions to it. So I'm surprised she didn't make just 100%, you know, not 100%, but a really strong bakuchiol product without any retinol in. I'm sure she makes one for herself and just uses it. So I'm going to finish on a product that I love, and I'm going to actually do a video, I think next week, on eye products that I've been using over this lockdown, because I've had terrible hay fever, and I'm going to talk about it in conjunction with my hay fever, because I love the Beauty Pie Ceramide Eye. I really like it, but this has just landed on my desk and I love this too. This is the Filorga Optimize Refresh, and it's a hyaluronic acid stick. Oh my God. Now, if you suffer from hay fever, you'll know that you get dry, itchy eyes. I mean, one of the reasons my eyes have aged quite badly compared to the rest of my face is because for years and years and years, ever since I've had my first period when I was 15, my hormones kicked in, I got terrible hay fever. It's bad for about 5 months of the year. And so what I want is something lightweight, easy to use, refreshing, cooling, hydrating, loaded with hyaluronic acid. And this is in a stick form, so you can basically carry it with you. And it is heaven. This is going to look super shiny under my eyes, but you can wear it over makeup, under makeup. I mean, that's so cooling and soothing on my eyes, I can't tell you. I will never be without this in the summer months. Filorga is a really interesting product line. It's actually created by a company, a French company, who make fillers, cosmetic fillers. So I think they're really interesting. They know a lot about hyaluronic acid. This is so cooling. I'm just going to check it hasn't got any mint in it or anything like that. They've actually launched 2 products. They've actually launched a cream, a traditional anti-dark circle cream. But I'm going to do a special thing on eye products that I think are interesting, because genuinely, I don't use a lot of eye products. Oh God, tiny writing. God save me. If you need an eye product, you need... Simple rule, people. If you need an eye product and you need to wear glasses, you need bigger lettering on the products. Let's have a look. One of the concerns for me is that because it's cooling, it might have a mint extract in it, but it doesn't. It does have an alcohol, but a fatty acid sort of alcohol in it to cool your eyes. I really like it. I will not be flying with it or travelling without it in the near future. It's also got enough hyaluronic acid just to reset your concealer if it gets a bit dry under your eyes. Well done, Filorga. Interesting product. Very similar in cooling effect to the Beauty Pie Ceramide Eye, which I also like. But I'm just saying I am going to do some eye products. That's my first section of brand new and exciting skincare coming your way soon, because beauty companies and retailers have finally started to move product out and celebrate new launches again, and that can only be an exciting thing. What have you tried this lockdown that you're really liking that's new and exciting? For me, the most interesting thing are the new generation retinols that are coming through, right, both from the high street and from companies like Paula's Choice, and right the way through to Miriam Zamani, because, you know, if you're going to, I guess if you're going to go to an ocular plastic surgeon, you're going to get a pretty hard-hitting retinol. More beauty companies need to put their percentages on their products and take any ideas of crystals and magic with a pinch of salt. However, they do give a nice glow to the skin. Next time, I'm going to do vitamin C's. I'm going to do new skin hybrids from Max Factor and 2 new brands that have just come to my attention that I think are ones that you'll want to watch. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you soon.